Ugh, that's good coffee. I'm going to need to be highly caffeinated for this video. Listen up, future scholars of America. Today, we're going to be talking about MLA. I have to split this up into two videos because MLA is so huge and intense. All right, first we're going to start off by talking about what it is and why it exists. MLA stands for Modern Language Association. They're a real thing that's exists since 1883. Here's their website. They're still going strong. They have a convention every year in New York City where a bunch of nerds get together and talk about books and language and words and things like that. Um, why do they exist? Contrary to popular belief, they don't exist just to make the lives of American students miserable and to come up with random rules for them to write so that it's easier for teachers to dock points on their essays. No, that's actually not why they exist. Why they exist is because they want to create a standardized way of writing about literature and language. You see, there are these people called professors and academics and scholars whose job it is to write papers about books. And before MLA, they could just write it any old way they want to. Like one professor would say, I think this about Hamlet. And then the other professor would say, I disagree with your opinion about Hamlet, and here's my paper. And then the people who were reading those papers were like, these are written in two totally different styles, and there's no consistency. Like, this is a mess. Think back to the 1600s when they hadn't even invented dictionaries or a standardized way of spelling. Shakespeare himself, during his lifetime, spelled his name 10 different ways because there was no standardized way of spelling. So people at Merriam-Webster got together and they were like, this is a mess. How can we understand each other? We need to invent something called a dictionary so that we know that cat is always spelled C-A-T. And if anyone spells it K-A-T, no one will know what they're talking about. They'll be considered uneducated. Sometimes you need a standardized system of rules so that things make sense. So that is MLA and why they exist. If you'd like to just continue believing that an evil organization that's trying to control your lives, that's fine. But I wanted to give you some background context so that maybe you understand why we do this. The reason why it's so important to learn MLA is because everyone in America has adopted this style, at least in regards to writing essays about literature and the humanities and language. So this will follow you all throughout middle school, high school, college, and maybe even further. Every different discipline has their own style of writing. For example, if you go into the field of social sciences and psychology and education or sociology, they all write in APA style, which stands for American Psychological Association. Or there's, for history people, there's Chicago or Turabian. But MLA is what we're going to focus on for today. You don't have to take notes on anything I just said. I was just ranting about why MLA matters. Now we're actually going to get into how to write in MLA style. All right. MLA publishes a handbook with all their rules to style and guidelines and things like that. But it's difficult to comprehend all of that. So luckily, there is a website called Purdue OWL. Purdue University has created an online writing lab where they take all of the rules of MLA formatting and style and put them into a really easy to understand website. This is so much easier than reading the MLA handbook. And they also stay up to date on whenever the MLA handbook changes something or puts out a new edition. And they just put out an 8th edition in the spring of 2016. And some of you are thinking, why did they change the rules? Why did they update things? Because language and culture is constantly updating. 20 years ago, the word selfie didn't exist. Now it's in the dictionary. Why we need a new MLA handbook? I don't know, 5 years ago, Netflix wasn't really a thing, and now there's actually a way to cite a Netflix episode in MLA citation. On this website, they have an example from Parks and Rec, I think. Here's a Beyonce song. You can cite that. Here's Parks and Rec. Anyway, so if you ever have any questions about MLA, just Google Purdue OWL MLA, and they will be able to answer it in a really easy to find way. I'm just going to go through some basics today. But if you have any other questions, go to this. Okay. Today, for my example of how to write an MLA essay, I'm going to be using the short story A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury right here. I'm going to start my MLA essay with Google Docs, and here's why. There's a lot of different softwares out there, word processors. You've got, Microsoft Office. You've got Pages. You've got Word for Mac, things like that. But a lot of those softwares don't come standard on certain computers, or they look different. Why I want to use Google Docs and why I use Google Docs for everything is because it's free. All you need is a Gmail account and it's cloud-based, which means it constantly saves and you're not going to lose any files. I think it's the best way to go. I recommend that you use Google Docs. You can use Microsoft Word, you can use Office, you can use Pages, by all means. Just know that your layout is going to look different than mine. And so if you have any trouble, like, I can't figure out how to insert a page number on Microsoft Word, blah, blah, blah. There's a way to do all of those things for all the different softwares, but it's just going to look different. So good luck figuring it out if you're using something besides Google Docs. First off, once we open our document, here's step one. This is where you need to start paying attention and taking notes. Everything else was just Mr. Barfield ranting. Step one, margins. The margins of an MLA paper always need to be 1 inch. Here, I'll write that down. 1 inch. And the way that you make sure that your paper has 1 inch margins is you go to File, then you go down to Page Setup. Then you go to margins, check, are they 1 inch? Good, good, good. Usually the default on Google Docs is 1 inch, but I don't know, sometimes people change it. All right, our margins are good. Step two, MLA essays must be double spaced throughout. The way you do that is you go to this little icon, line spacing, click on it, go down to double. It's already double spaced for me. It's like I had this set up. All right. Step 3, font. MLA must be in Times New Roman style font and size 12 font. The default when you open a Google Doc is usually like Calibri and font size 12, but here I've changed it to Times New Roman and 12-point font size. All right. Anything else before we start typing? No. I think we're ready. So the first thing you type on your MLA essay is a heading. Your heading is on the right side? Left side. Left side of the page, not the right side, the left side, I'm sorry. And it is 4 lines. First line of your heading is your name. For this simulation, I'm going to take on the name Edgar Poe. That is my name, my full name, not my first name, my full name. Then I hit the Enter button, and because it's double spaced, it goes down 2 spaces. Then the second line is the teacher's name. I'm writing this for Mr. Barfield's class. Please don't put Michael Barfield. I'm your teacher, for goodness sakes. Then you hit Enter again. On the third line, you do the name of the class or the course. This course is Honors Literature. Enter, and the fourth and last line is the date. Now, this is tricky because there's a lot of different ways that people like to write the date, and there's only one way that you write it in MLA, and it doesn't look like this. It doesn't look like this, or whatever. Here's how it looks. And this is going to be a little weird because I don't think you're used to writing the date like this, but this is how it goes. First, the date, the number of the day that it is. It is the 27th of September today. 27 space. Weird, right? You start with the date. Anyway. Then you spell out the full month. September. Then no punctuation, no commas, space, year. Done. That's how it should look. Date, number, month, year. Enter. Next line is the title. We're done with the heading, so now we go to the title. A lot of people make the mistake of hitting enter twice for their title or 3 times, and there should not be that big of a space between the heading and the title. So 1 space down from our heading, we go to center alignment, We begin our title. Do we do anything special for our title? Like, do we underline it? Do we put it in bold? Do we make it bigger font size? No, none of that. But your title should be interesting and relevant to your essay. For example, if I write an essay on a sound of thunder, I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to call it Sound of Thunder essay. Ugh, boring. That's awful. It should be like a hook. It should grab the reader in and be like, "Ooh, I want to read this. This is interesting," but not so ridiculous that it's like it has nothing to do with your essay, like a Sound of Thunder, Dino Power. If that's terrible too, because even if your essay is about Sound of Thunder and the dinosaurs in Sound of Thunder, that doesn't tell me what the theme is. So I'm going to call it Sound of Thunder Makes Me Wonder, because this essay is going to be all about the theme of Sound of Thunder and what would have happened if they didn't go back in time. Now, something to notice, I put quotation marks around Sound of Thunder, and that is because it's a short story. If I were talking about a novel, I would take away the quotation marks and italicize it. Books, novels, things like that, italicized. Names of short stories, poems, songs, quotations. All right. Title, enter, go back to the left tab, and now we're ready to start writing our essay, right? Whoop, forgot one thing. Backspace, backspace, backspace. And that's a header. There's a difference between a heading and a header. Good luck remembering that. The heading is what we've just done over here on the left side. The header is above the heading. Double click up here in the top margin on the right side. And that is your last name and the page number, and that should appear on every page. How we do the heading or the header, see, I get it mixed up too. Double space or double click on the top margin, and go up here, write justify, enter, go down one space so it doesn't get cut off by the printer. Put your last name, Poe. If you have a keen eye, you've noticed something. This is a different font. We've got to change it 2 times New Roman and 12. Good catch, Mr. Poe. Thanks, Mr. Barfield. And we just do the page number, right? Wrong. There's a different way you do the page number, because if you do it like this, Poe 1, then this will show up on every page, Poe 1, Poe 1, Poe 1, Poe 1, even though it's not the first page. So let's get that 1 out of there. Keep the Poe. We like that. Keep your last name. But then to do the page number properly, you go to Insert, Page Number, and then the one where it looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. Uh-oh. Whoa, 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 whoa. We need a space in between the page number. Boom. There we go. Perfect. And now we're ready to start writing our essay. Indent by hitting Tab and begin your intro paragraph. And that's the basics of starting it up. That's all for this video, the getting started. And next video is going to focus just on citations. Thanks for watching. Feel free to rewind and rewatch as many times as you need to have awesome notes and feel super prepared. Mr. Barfield, signing out.